This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1420, Dating Advice for Women by Tynan of Tynan.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to ORD, where I read different articles to you each day that can help you improve your relationships. I'm your host and narrator, Greg Audino, hoping you're all doing well and that you're excited for another episode. Now, today I'll be sharing with you a post from Tynan, who we haven't heard from in a little while, a post plainly labeled as Dating Advice for Women. I think you're going to like this one a lot. I know I'm a fan. So let's get into his list of tips and start optimizing your life. Dating Advice for Women by Tynan of Tynan.com. I don't usually give dating advice to women, but recently 2 of my female friends have been asking me a lot about dating. So I figured I would consolidate some of the stuff we've been talking about here. Some of this stuff will apply to men too, but for once I wanted to focus on the female perspective. There are 2 primary issues for women to deal with in dating. The first is sifting through the masses of men who will present themselves, and the second is keeping the man once they begin dating. The other parts, the parts that are hard for men, are easy. Most women have no problem getting attention from men or getting dates. For the first part, my advice is to just get out there and go on as many dates as possible. Women are often attracted more by personality than appearance, so the initial screening process is more difficult. However, personality can be sized up reasonably accurately quickly. Rather than leave it to chance, spend time in places where guys you like might be. You can also approach guys, and guys tend to think this is amazing. But just showing up in places where guys you might be interested in are should be enough. When a guy approaches you, encourage him. It can be terrifying. Once you're on a date, realize that you don't owe the guy anything other than to show up. If he's creepy or rude, leave immediately. It's rude to leave, but ruder to make someone feel uncomfortable. And if the date isn't great, don't go on another date. You don't owe him another date, even if he feels like you do. Women are often afraid of upsetting the male ego because it can be fragile, and men are likely to say extraordinarily stupid things when they're rejected. It's not fair that you have to hear those things, but you can at least be kind to yourself and realize that they are entirely reflections of the man's inner world and not of you. Silence is often the best answer. If a guy says something stupid to you, just ignore it and block him. This will prevent you from hearing more nonsense, and it will also starve him of the attention that he's trying to get. If you have a great date, make sure the guy knows. On average, we are far worse at reading signals than women are. So signals that you think are clever and just subtle enough will go totally unnoticed. When you start dating a guy and he likes you, he will generally advance the relationship. Make him do at least half of the work in terms of texting and setting up dates. If he's not willing to do that, he's not interested enough in you. If you're looking for a serious relationship, don't allow yourself to be someone's second priority. He either puts in the effort and gets to spend time with you, or he doesn't. On the other hand, it's critical not to rush his decision-making process. While men tend to know sooner whether they're physically attracted to a woman, women tend to know sooner whether they're interested in a relationship. And just as a guy moving too fast physically can scare off a woman, so too can a woman moving too quickly towards a relationship. Don't worry. If he likes you, he'll get there. But never ask if he likes you. If he's seeing you, he does. Don't ask relationship questions to which you aren't very confident the answer is yes. That includes whether he wants to be exclusive, boyfriend and girlfriend, etc. There's a very common situation that happens where a guy is still trying to figure out if he wants to be in a relationship with a woman and she rushes the decision. It's very common to feel like you probably do eventually want that relationship. But if you have to commit now, you have to say no. It's much better to be a little bit patient than to rush him into a decision that will force him to say no. Every guy has been there. Understand how important freedom is to a man. Maybe not all of us, but it's commonly an important value. A woman who tries to encroach upon our freedom will be seen as a threat. On the other hand, a woman who supports us having a lot of freedom will get a ton of credit for that, and the benefits of that freedom will actually get credited to you. Many guys complain about how their girlfriends or wives restrict their freedom, so a guy who isn't in that position is constantly reminded of how lucky he is. Your goal as a partner should not be to hold on to him no matter what. It should be to be irreplaceable. Rules, threats, ultimatums, and bargaining will never keep a good man. being the best version of yourself and working with him to create an incredible relationship will. Dating is tough for both men and women, and it can feel disheartening sometimes. The good news is that you only need to really succeed at it once. You just listened to the post titled, Dating Advice for Women by Tynan of Tynan.com. And thanks a lot to Tynan for this post. Always great to hear from him. And this was surely a nice, humble approach from a male perspective. And one note about the idea of freedom that he brought up towards the end. Don't confuse this idea with you not being allowed to ask for time together. Freedom is nice for everyone, of course, but the acknowledgement of it and willingness to work with it is much more valuable than constantly giving into that. So the term encroaching that Tynan used, it really only applies and becomes problematic if there's an ignorance of your partner's freedom. So instead, look for ways to balance both of your freedoms and your time together. Consider what types of things you'd like to do separately, what types of things you'd like to do together, but with friends, or just the two of you. This way, equal attention is being paid to your individual needs and your needs as a couple. And that shows your partner that you're caring of both, rather than only looking for ways to satisfy yourself. Initiating a conversation like this will really be a great means of showing your partner that you're looking out for them. And that'll make it easier to trust in how you're both spending your time, which, of course, can be hugely important. And on that note, it is time to get going for today, my friends. Thank you as always for being here and listening until the end. I hope you liked this post and perhaps it sparks a good conversation between you and yours. And be sure to stop in again tomorrow for another one. That's where your optimal life awaits.